Today is September 11th, 2022. It is Sunday. It's also day 419 of WebDev, and it is day 45 of JavaScript. And today I'm just going to do a modal with JavaScript, which is kind of like a pop-up. So when you click on, I don't know, a menu button or something, it pops up, whatever. In this case, it's going to pop up a navigation bar with links. And I'm here on Replit. I am just going to have this open on the left side of my screen in Firefox so I can use Firefox developer tools. So I'll do Control-Shift-I to get those developer tools and then just click on the little mobile view because I want to make sure that I do this in mobile view first and then work my way up. So I'm going to do some basic HTML and CSS just to get the layout. And yeah, so I'll start with the body and I'll do a div and give it a class container. And so this is just going to be a box, right? That's called container, and it's going to contain everything inside my, or just everything inside my site. So I'm going to go here to CSS and I'm going to target the container using dot notation. And I'm going to give it a border of 5 pixels, solid line border, and then a black line border, and I'm going to run that, and I'm going to see that I'm just going to see a black line. And I don't really want it to just be a line. I want it to have a height, right, of 100 VH, vertical height of the screen, so that it actually is able to contain things within it. And then to get rid of the spacing around the container, I can just go here and just zero out any margin and padding that comes by default with some browsers. So let me run that, reload. Perfect. Okay, so now back to HTML. I'm going to go within the container and I'm going to add a header tag. And so the header is going to contain two things. My logo, so I'm going to give it an ID of logo. That, whoops, logo. And then it's just going to be an H1 that says logo, and it's just, an H1 is just a heading tag. And I'm going to close in my logo there. And then the next thing would be my little menu button. So I'm going to go here to icons 8, which I always have linked in my logs, copy image address after I right click. And then I'm going to do an image tag. And then the source attribute is, where I'm getting the image from. I'm going to paste that in there. And I want the image to be clickable. So I'll surround it with an A tag that leads to nowhere for now, because when I click it, I don't want it to go anywhere for now. So that's what the hashtag is. So I'll do that, and then I'll be able to see that here now, the two things, which is pretty good. And then I'll just go and give this an ID of, let's say, menu, and run that and reload. So I'm going to go back to my CSS and then just give things borders because that's what I like doing. So I'll target the header, which doesn't need anything fancy because it's just an element, and I'll give it a border of, let's say, 10 pixels, solid purple. So it's very prominent. So run that. So the header contains both the logo and the navigation thingy, menu, I don't even know what to call it, menu, icon. And then I'll do hashtag logo because it's an ID of logo. So that's what a hashtag is for. And give it a border of, let's say, 5 pixels, solid red. And then I'll just go and give the menu, so hashtag menu border. Save that, reload. All right, so then I would like to actually change the sizing of the menu image. So I'll do hashtag menu and then IMG and give it a width of 35 pixels and then a height of 35 pixels. Reload that. All right, so now it's kind of like that. And then what I would do is go to the menu and maybe give it a height of min content so that the image is actually within that blue box. Oh, I spelled height wrong. So let's see if that works. Right, min content. Well, it's not working, so I guess let's not do that then. So the point is, I want to get the red box and the blue box to be next to each other. And the way I do that is by looking at the purple box, which is the header. So I'm going to give that a display of flex, and what that's going to do is going to make the header, the purple box, become a flex container. And so by default, there's this flex property called flex direction that, again, by default has or it's set to row. So anything inside a flex container becomes a flex item, and then those flex items are going to be in the same row. So that's why the red box and the blue box are now in the same row, because they're flex items now because they are inside a flex container, which is the purple box, right? So even if I delete this, it's going to do nothing because again, by default, that's what it is, row. And so why is the blue box, you know what? I'll give the blue box also a display of flex and then do align items center so that the little icon thing goes down. There we go. And it's at the center. Beautiful. And so then at this point, I want them to be not side by side, like exactly side by side. I want there to be space in between. So I'll go to the header and go and do justify content and then put in space in between, literally. So convenient. And that's going to put space in between the flex items, in this case, the red box and the blue box, which is pretty cool. And then that's literally it. So at this point, let's start with the JavaScript, which is actually, actually, no, I actually have to go to HTML and actually, you know, create the pop-up. So after the header, I still want everything to be inside. Well, do I want it to be inside the container or no? I'll have everything be inside the container. So I'll do a div and I'll do a class and I'll call it Modal. And then I'll do another class within the Modal and I'll call it Modal Content. Right, and then the modal content is going to contain the navigation bar. So I'm going to say a div class and I'm going to say nav bar. And the nav bar is going to contain a list of items, a list of links, right? So I'm going to do an unordered list, and an unordered list is going to have a list item, which is actually going to be an A tag, right? A link that leads to nowhere. So again, that's what the hashtag means. And I'm just going to say link for now. And what I'll do is I'll just copy this. Let me actually save and reload so you can see what I'm doing. So I'm going to copy this like, I don't know, 3 times and save that, reload, and I'll be able to see all those links. So then the point of this now is to go to CSS and I'll target the, let's say the modal, give it a border of 5 pixels, let's say solid lined green. And then I'll be able to see that. And then the modal content as well, give that a border of, let's say, blue. So what I want is the green box to be 100% of the screen. And so to do that, I'm actually going to do position, whoops, not this one, the modal over here. So it's going to be position fixed and then run that and then reload. And then here's a problem. I want it to be position fixed, but I want it to be from the top 0, right? So it would move, actually, it would actually go back to the top, right? Beautiful. And then I'll make sure that it has a height of 100% and also a width of 100%, so that it takes the entirety of the screen. Beautiful. And then I'll do the same thing for the blue box. So I'll make sure that it has a height of 100% and a width of 100%. So this is going to be what's going to pop up. And so to see it a little bit better, I'll actually give it a background of green, right? So that pops up there. And so this is what's going to pop up once I click on the, what do you call it? The menu icon. So let me actually work with this for now. So the modal content, I want it to be at the center. So I'll give this a display of flex, and really what that's going to do is just going to take the navigation bar, which actually before that, let me actually give it a border so I'm able to see. So border, let's do 5 pixels, white, nope, solid, and then white, so I could see that, reload. Okay, so that's the navigation bar. And so the modal content is what contains the nav bar. So if I give it a display of flex, now the nav bar becomes a flex item. And then I can use flex properties such as justify content center, which is going to center the navigation bar horizontally. And then align items center is going to center the navigation bar vertically. So that means it's going to bring it down in this case. So reload and put that in there. Now it's centered. Beautiful. And then what I'll do is I'll actually target the A tags, which would be easy if I just go in here and give each A tag a class of link, so that instead of doing like .navbar, ul, li, and then a, I could just do .link and then access those links and give them styles. So let me do that. All right, and then back into CSS, I can now go and do .link and change the color to white, which is gonna look like this once I reload, right? And then to remove the underline, I'm gonna do text decoration and set that to none. Save that, reload. And then to remove the bullet points, that's actually an li, a list item property. So I'll actually have to target those, right? And then set list style to none. Right, save that, reload. And then what I would do is go to HTML and just kind of change what they say at this point. So maybe like home. The last one can be contact. Let's do about, or actually I could do like, maybe it's like a site for courses or something. And then like, let's do courses and then maybe programs. I don't know, just whatever works. And then save and reload, and then go here and then go to the links. And then what I would do is give it a font size of 80 pixels so that they're really large and you're able to see them. Maybe not that much. So let's do 60 or something. Okay. And then I would want them to be centered. So the way I would do this is, let me try to see if I could do text align center so that the text of the A tag just moves towards the center. Okay, and if that doesn't work, which it didn't, what I could do is I could give this a display of flex and then do align items center, which doesn't work either, which is weird. How about I give these a border and see what's going on? 5 pixels, solid white. Huh. So align items, oh, dumb. It's justify content center, not align items center. Align items does it, what do you call it? Vertically while justify content justifies it to the center. So there we go. See, when in doubt, give everything a border and that fixes everything. All right. So that's what it's going to look like. And then what I would do is, I'm not sure why there's such a spacing in the navigation bar. So maybe I can zero out any margin and padding, but that would already be like that by default. What if I go to the top and do box sizing, set that to border box. Save that and reload. Huh. Either way, I'm gonna keep this. I wonder. So it's not necessarily at the center, and that's so weird. So what I could just do is maybe margin right 20 pixels. So margin from the right 20 pixels so it moves to the left and it's more at the center, I guess, and then just remove that border there. Save that, reload. Okay, and so that's what it's gonna end up looking. Oh, you know why? It's because of the blue line. Let me get rid of the, oh no, that's for the menu. Where is the, oh, this one. Okay, let me save that, reload. There we go. And let me remove the container border also. All right, so definitely move it just a little bit more, maybe 25 pixels. So that would move it 25 pixels to the left, the navigation bar. Okay, beautiful. And so that's what's going to pop up when I click on the menu. So I'm just going to go here to the modal and give it a display of none so that it's actually not there when I open up my page. And then let's work on the actual animation now, which is, or the functionality actually with JavaScript. So the first thing I would need to do is actually access this button. So I'm going to do a variable and I'm going to call it menu. And I'm going to access it through the document variable. So the document is basically your browser your browser's copy of your HTML page. So what your browser does, it just takes your HTML and converts all of your HTML elements into objects that JavaScript can actually work with, because JavaScript is an object-oriented programming language and it can only work with objects. So that's why your browser does that. And that copy that it does, that conversion, it puts it into a thing called the DOM, which is your document object model. And in this case, it's called the document in JavaScript. And then so you can just access your any object or any element through the DOM, so through the document. So by using a function, and in this case, I'm going to do get element by ID because I believe I gave the menu an ID of menu, right? So I'm going to go and just say menu, right? And then reload that. And so to check if that actually worked, I can do console.log and then menu, and then it should return to me that element. Once I'm here in Control Shift I developer tools, and I can just reload, make sure I'm in console, and I can see that it works. So it's returning to me that element, which is perfect. But I don't need this anymore. So let me delete that. So what I want is to create a function. So I'll do variable and I'm going to call it on menu click. So when I click on the menu, I want the following function to be, or I want the following things to be done. So what I want is for the modal to actually pop up. And for that to pop up, I have to actually set the display to block, because right now it has a display of none, which is why it's not there. So, and even to do that, I have to access the modal first. So I'll have to do that here. So I'll create a variable called modal and access it through the DOM, get element by ID, and then go here and make sure that I have an actual ID here. I'm going to actually give it an ID of Modal because right now I don't have an ID there. Right, and then back in JS, I'm just going to put in Modal there. And then I'll go here and target the modal, target the CSS, because I want to actually target the display property. And in order to do that, I actually have to target the CSS first. So the display, and set that to block, right? So that's the first thing that's going to happen. And if I reload, nothing's going to happen, right? Because I haven't told the menu how to react. So I have to target the menu and add an event listener. And what that does, it just looks for two things. So it's going to look for what to respond to. So I want it to respond to a click. So when I click on the menu, I want it to pass this function on menu click. So now if I reload this and I click on the menu, the modal now has a display of block, right? Because it was listening for when I clicked on it, and when I did click on it, it called this function on menu click, which changed the display from none to block. Because if we go back to CSS, we can clearly see that the modal has a display of none. That's why it's not there in the beginning, by default, because it's displays none, right? So yeah, and then that's the first step. The next thing, which is actually to close it, I would actually have to get like an X icon. So what I'll do is I'll right click and copy image address for this X thing, which is, I always link it in my logs. I'm going to go to HTML, and within the header, because I wanted to follow like the positioning of the header, I'm actually going to put it in there. I'm going to make sure that it's here. Oops, wait, no, let me do the same thing, an image tag and a source, and just paste that link in there. And I would just surround it with an A tag. So hashtag, and then, and the A tag here. And then I'll give this an ID of X and run that. And so I'm going to go to my CSS here, and I can clearly see it's like weird right now. So what I'll do is maybe I can do comma and then hashtag X image as well, so that it applies that. Okay, beautiful. So that happens. Let me actually give it a border so I can see what's going on at the moment. So border 5 pixels, solid black. All right, so that's what's happening. So I would actually need to do, let's say, display flex, do the same thing I did for the menu and do align items center because that does positioning vertically, so I want it to go down. So it's going to center it by moving it down. Beautiful. And then here's the thing. The idea is when I click on the menu, I want the menu to disappear, the modal to pop up, and then the X to also pop up. Because by default, I'm going to actually set the X to have a display of none because I don't want it to exist, right? When I open up the screen, so display none. Oops. Wait, not. Oh my. Oh, here's a problem. Wait. Display none. Flex item. Alright, so let me try something real quick. Okay, so header, how about I give it a height of 80 pixels and then reload that. And then now, instead of having display flex, let me save that reload and see what that. Okay. Oh, it's because I did display none. Oh my god, wait. Save that reload. Okay. Um, huh. So it needs to have display flex in order for it to be centered, even if it has a height. So you know what? Let me get rid of the height. And what I'll do is I guess I'll just create another div around it. Huh. Let me see if it actually works like that. Um, so no, because it needs display flex, but it also has to have display none, right? Um, unless I do hashtag X image display none. But then that happens, which is really bad. But it doesn't necessarily need to be there. You know what? No, no, no. This is too messy. Let me just go into my HTML and just give it a border. Not a border, a div. I'm gonna call it ID close or something. And then save that, reload, and then go to my CSS and then just go here to dot close, give it a border just so I know what I'm doing. And then oh, it's because I did hashtag close. There we go. All right, beautiful. And then for this, I'll give it a display flex, blah, blah, blah. Save that, reload. So now it's at the center. And then what I could actually, it would have been the same thing. It's the same problem. Let's see. Um, hmm. Okay. So then how would I go about this? So this would be display none, and it would still be the same problem because the box, the close would still be there. Okay. So then in that case, let me just try doing this. So, okay, so back to this. I want the menu to disappear. So I'll set that to none. And then I want to target the X. So the X would be, let's do variable called X, set it equal to the document dot get element by ID, and I don't even know which ID to use now at this point. So let me do X, and then I'll do X dot style dot display, set that to block so that I could actually appear. So when I do this, should appear, but it's not appearing. So do I need to do, let's do close. All right, so you know what? Let me just get rid of the close and have it how it was. and then go back into here, get rid of the close as well. Save that, reload. And then give this a z-index of 1. So let me try one thing. Let me try putting the modal. Oh, it's within the container already. Never mind. What is going on? So I have my div logo and then I have these two things here. And then I go here and I save. And then you know what maybe would help if I just go to the modal container and give it a background of none so that I could actually see if it's actually showing up. Reload. It's not even showing up. Did I not tell it to show up? Display block, because right now it has a display of flags. Oh no. There we go. So it is showing up. And then, oh, this is such a problem. So then even if I go back to here and do something like green, save as, reload. Oh, okay, it works. But then the only problem is that I can't do display flex now because it would just mess things up because right now it's display none. But what I could do though is actually that's even actually you know what? That's not even such a problem because huh. Um I mean I could do positioning, but like who wants to do that? I guess I could just do margin. No, I could do padding, top 10 pixels. But then that would make the bottom longer. I don't even know. 25 pixels. Save that, reload. Okay, that's fine, whatever. And then I would get rid of the border. I mean, that's literally it now. And then now for it to close, um, oh wait, no, that's so bad. How about let's do margin from the right, 20 pixels. How about 10? Sure. Okay. And then now I have to actually do the function for when it closes. So I'll do another function called, whoops. Let's do variable. So on X click, I want the following function, whoops, to occur. Why do I keep All right, so then over here, what I want to do is I want the modal, actually, let me just literally copy and paste, and I just have to do the opposite. So here, this would become none because I want it to disappear again. The menu I wanted to appear again, so block, and then the X I wanted to disappear again. So I'll do none, save that, reload, and then I'll do X dot add event listener. And so I wanted to listen for when it's clicked once and then call this function when it is clicked once. And then save that and reload. Beautiful. There we go. And then the only thing is I would have to do the same thing for oh, this is so annoying. I would have to do the same thing for the menu also. So if I go to JavaScript, I would have to say the menu dot style dot margin right. What did I say it was? 10 pixels. And then the other thing was what? Padding top. So menu dot style dot padding top was what? 25 pixels? Okay, do that, reload. Okay, now it's looking good. All right, now let me just make it pretty. Let me go to Css Gradient Generator, blah, blah, blah. I don't even care at this point. Let me just pick whatever, copy to clipboard. It's literally not letting me copy to, okay, there we go. And then I'll go here to CSS, and then I'll make the container. Do I want the container to have that? I do the container to have a background. Oh my god. Of that, reload. Okay, and then get rid of literally all of the borders. So even this here, and even the header also. Okay, and then the menu. All right, and then, ooh, the header definitely needs some padding. 0 pixels top and bottom, 25 pixels left and right. There we go. And then definitely have to fix this one over here. I can go and just give it the same thing. So I can give it a background of literally the same thing. Reload. Now it's going to be there. Definitely get rid of the border. And then reload. Right. And then, yeah, that's pretty much it. I would definitely move the X to be a little smaller. So instead of this, I'll just do hashtag, actually just put it in there, and then just say maybe width 25 pixels, height 25 pixels, and save that, reload. Okay, pretty, and then yeah, that's like it for me today. Maybe just go to Google Fonts. I believe that I have it here linked. So Google Fonts, and then just copy all this, put that in my head tag in my HTML so that CSS knows where I'm getting the font from. And then I'll go to Lato, and then I'll go to my CSS and search up link and just put that font for all of the links. And then now if I do that, they look a little bit nicer. And then I'll take the Roboto slab font and put that for the logo. Oh my god, I just closed my stuff. Isn't that great? Okay. So where's the logo? It doesn't even matter. I'll just do hashtag logo H1, paste that in there, have that be that. There we go. And then this is what it's looking like. Took me 5 hours, but it's okay. Um, yeah. Yeah, that's it for today. I'm gonna go now. Bye.